WWE announced they are bringing back the Slammy Awards again this year as part of WrestleMania 41 weekend in Las Vegas. They're calling it the 2025 Slammys, the Fans' Choice Awards. Hosted by Kathy Kelly and Big E. This is not like the old days where you would have a whole ceremony and it was a lot of fun. Like, they don't do that anymore. But it'll be hosted by Kathy Kelly and Big E. It'll be broadcast live from WWE World across all of their social media channels on WrestleMania Sunday. Voting is open right now on WWE.com. So let's run through these categories. They have 12 of them. And we'll start here with Female Superstar of the Year. The nominees are Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, and Io Sky. Liv Morgan, there's no contest here. I mean, Liv Morgan has to be the winner. Liv Morgan had a career renaissance in 2024. She transformed herself into a main event player in that division in a way that, and she's been in the company for a long time, but she's never been at the level that she's firing on right now. In terms of her in-ring work, her character work, she was obviously one of the more featured names on television for a good chunk of the year, especially when Rhea was out. It's got to be Liv Morgan. Male Superstar of the Year. We have Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Gunther, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins. To me, it's just one of two names. It's either Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre. I lean towards Drew McIntyre. If you said Cody Rhodes, I wouldn't disagree with you. But I think for McIntyre, he also, kind of like Liv, had a breakout year last year, made the most of what he was given, very entertaining, very good in the role that he was in, brought the best out in the people that he was working with. Obviously, Cody was the champion. He finished his story. That's why I say, if you want to go with Cody, I get it. But I'm going with Drew as far as Male Superstar of the Year. Most memorable entrance. Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. Jey Uso with Travis Scott on Raw's Netflix premiere. I think Travis was smoking as he came out. Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. The Rock at WrestleMania 40. Bayley at WrestleMania 40. Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin. Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40 with the Philadelphia Mummers Band. Sami Zayn in Montreal with Jey Uso. Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 40 with Kevin Owens and Chad Gable. So I guess what was it? They're counting him in the back as he... They gave him like a pep talk as he came out because he didn't come out with them. All right, I guess that's what they're going with. Logan Paul at SummerSlam with MGK. Dominic Mysterio at Bad Blood with Liv Morgan in the Lowrider. Or Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle in Scotland. I'm going Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle in Scotland on that one. That was a great entrance. They had the decibel meter on the screen. It was so loud. OMG, Moment of the Year. Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns, the match finish at WrestleMania 40. Dominic Mysterio turning against Rhea Ripley with Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. Kevin Owens turning against Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes in October. New Day turning against Big E. Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank cash-in on Nia Jax. Damian Priest Money in the Bank cash-in on Drew McIntyre. The Wyatt Six debut on Raw. Braun Breaker spearing ISHO Speed at the Royal Rumble. Bronson Reed hitting a tsunami on Braun Strowman onto a car. John Cena turning against Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber, which, I mean, this just destroyed the entire category by including this. Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam and Io Sky defeating Rhea Ripley to become Women's World Champion. There are plenty of OMG moments on this list, and I really wanted to go with New Day turning on Big E. But, I mean, it's got to be John Cena turning against Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber. It's going to go down as one of the biggest turns and biggest moments in the history of the company. How could this be anything but that? But if it wasn't for that, like if that wasn't included in this category, I would go with New Day turning against Big E. You know, the moment with Dom and Liv at SummerSlam was great too. But in this case, I mean, how can you go with anything other than Cena turning against Cody? Faction of the Year. The OG Bloodline, The Judgment Day, The New Bloodline, American Made, and Damage Control. I mean, I'm going to go with The Judgment Day. You know, just because they're still prominently featured every week. They've been able to spin off a whole bunch of stories. You know, for a good chunk of the year, Rhea and Damian, they were still part of the Judgment Day. So I'll go with them. Tag Team of the Year. DIY, Awesome Truth, A-Town Down Under, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, the Motor City Machine Guns, the Bloodline, the War Raiders, the Judgment Day, the Street Profits, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez. I'll be honest with you, like, none of these teams really stand out to me too much. I'm going to go with Jade and Bianca, you know, as dominant as they were. And they look great together, and they won more matches than they lost. I'm going to go with Bianca and Jade because none of the other choices are really enticing me. Rivalry of the Year. CM Punk against Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes, Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest against Finn Balor, Kevin Owens against Cody Rhodes, Nia Jax against Tiffany Stratton, and Bloodline versus Bloodline. I'm going with CM Punk against Drew McIntyre. That is your Rivalry of the Year. NXT Superstar of the Year. Oba Femi, Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, Julia, and Kelani Jordan. Now, I want you to explain something to me. I don't know how they came to these nominees. Because I'm looking at some of the options in some of these categories. Like John Cena turning on Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber. And that was on March 1st. So, like, what is the deadline cutoff here for this? Because why is Stephanie Vicaire not on this list? You have Julia, and Stephanie is not here. But Stephanie is in one of the later categories. So that I don't understand how Julia is on here, but not Stephanie. But as far as the options they gave you here, it's got to be Oba Femi. I think Oba Femi is the NXT Superstar of the Year. Match of the Year. Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. CM Punk against Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood. Roman Reigns and The Rock against Cody and Seth, WrestleMania 40. Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. Damian Priest against Gunther at SummerSlam. Cody Rhodes against AJ Styles at Backlash. That was in Lyon, France. The 2025 Men's War Games match. Bloodline OG versus New Bloodline. Why does this say 2025? It's 2024. Bayley against Io Sky at WrestleMania 40. Sami Zayn against Gunther at WrestleMania 40. Gunther against Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin. And CM Punk against Seth Rollins on the Raw Netflix premiere. The match of the year is Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. That was the match I gave the nod to over Punk and McIntyre in Hell in a Cell. I know many of you are going to go with that one. That's fine. For me, it was Roman Reigns and Cody. It was the Avengers Endgame of WWE. That's the match of the year. Then we have the WTF Moment of the Year. And I am not sure how this is supposed to be different from the OMG Moment of the Year. But they're two different categories. So we'll go with it. Honestly, wait until I read out the list here. This is fucking terrible. This category absolutely sucks. R-Truth calls Triple H Champa. Kevin Owens car interviews. How that's a WTF moment, I'll never know. Chelsea Green goes into the dumpster. Dominic Mysterio in the shark cage. I show speed with Logan Paul at WrestleMania 40. LA Knight in Logan Paul's pool. I shit you not. I shit you not. LA Knight lounging in Logan Paul's pool apparently is a what the fuck moment. The only what the fuck moment here is that it's included in this category. R-Truth wrestles with John Cena. Rabid noises from Tama Tonga. Let me repeat that. The what the fuck moment of the year nominee. Rabid noises from Tama Tonga. Jacob Fatu, I Love You Solo. The Wyatt Six debut. And that's it. This category is absolute dog shit and not even close the WTF moment of the year, at least from this selection, is the Wyatt 6 debut. Social Star of the Year. Apparently, the WWE stars have to step up their social media game because we only have 2 nominees here. This is the smallest category. Your options are Chelsea Green or Drew McIntyre. The winner is Drew McIntyre. And finally, Breakout Star of the Year. Okay, so we go from the shittiest category I just talked about to the hardest one. This is the hardest category because there are almost no wrong answers here. So, Breakout Star of the Year, Braun Breaker, Lyra Valkyria, Penta, Oba Femi, Julia, Tiffany Stratton, Jacob Fatu, Chelsea Green, and Stephanie Vicaire. I'm looking at Braun, Penta, Oba, Julia, Tiffany, Jacob, and Stephanie. Okay, that's what I'm initially looking at here. Julia and Stephanie, I'm going to leave off because they came closer to the end of the year, and I just think that there are better breakout options here, as great as they are. Penta has only been there for 2 months, and he has literally worked with the same 3 people over and over again. So I'm not going to go with him. So for me, it's down to Braun, it's down to Jacob, and it's down to Tiffany Stratton. You really can't go wrong with any of those 3. You know, Breaker didn't really start to break out until the summer, but he won 2 Intercontinental titles. Tiffany, from that first big main roster match she had inside the Elimination Chamber, she was super over. That's really where she first broke out. And then she wins Money in the Bank, and then she becomes the Women's World Champion. So, you know, it's hard to vote against that, but I'm picking Jacob Fatu. Reason being, unlike Braun Breaker and unlike Tiffany Stratton, he truly came out of nowhere. Like when you think of someone breaking out, I mean, this man was in prison, right? So he literally broke out. Well, no, I hope he was released and didn't break out. But you look at him, no NXT run. Unlike the other 2, no NXT run. The WWE audience had no familiarity with this guy. He just shows up. And on his very first night, he lays out Cody Rhodes, he lays out Randy Orton, he lays out Kevin Owens. And then within a few months, he's got the fans cheering for him and chanting his name, even though he's a part of a heel faction. You hear it every single week. The chants grow louder. The others came from NXT. They had success there, or they won championships there. They had expectations already established that you knew they were going to break out once they hit the main roster. Fatu came in with none of that. Only from the people who saw his work outside of WWE. Only from the people who knew of him from MLW or from the independent scene. That's it. Like, those people knew how big of a star he was going to be. So I'm picking Fatu. But if you were to go with the other names, you wouldn't be wrong.